You see the char on that corn? This is gonna get the party started. So next, I'm making my sliders. So for my burger, I have 80-20 ground beef mixture. That's 80% lean, 20% fat. Jalapenos that I have taken the seed out. A little orange juice. A little lime juice. Some minced garlic. 2 tablespoons of my house seasoning. A teaspoon of chili powder. And 1 teaspoon of cumin. All right, so this patty is super flavorful. I'm making sliders, so they're gonna be small patties. This mixture makes about 12 patties. So I'm making them about this thick. I wouldn't even say that's an inch thick, all right? Let's grill these burgers. All right, so I have oiled down my grill so the burgers don't stick. All right, so I am just gonna grill this for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. I prefer my burgers cooked medium to medium well. All right, so while that cooks, I'm gonna get started on my Mexican-inspired street corn. I have some corn that I have taken off the cob. I'm gonna fry this up with a little salt and some garlic, but I'm gonna wait to add the garlic just until the end because I really want that garlic flavor to stand out. A good burger to me, not only is the patty well seasoned, the toppings also make it too, you know? Like, I'm gonna get a well-dressed burger. I want my burger dressed to the nines, honey. Okay, let me check my burger to see if it's time to flip. It is. Look at that. Got some nice grill marks on there. And the spices in the patty give it a really nice color. That green sticking out from that jalapeno. Beautiful. Okay, I also like to hit my burgers just before I take them off the grill with a little salt. So the burgers are most likely up to medium well now, so I'm just gonna take them off. Don't wanna overcook. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna turn my heat off so it doesn't cook anymore. You see the char on that corn? That's exactly what I wanted. I've been cooking it with a little bit of salt and that oil. Now I'm adding in that garlic. Turn the heat off, that's that. Now I'm making my dressing. I have some mayo here, a little lime juice, lime zest, a little cilantro, got some green onion, a little cotija cheese. It's salty, a little nutty. Mix that together. I'm gonna add a little salt and pepper. So now I'm gonna add my cooked corn. Give it a mix. I'm gonna add just a little bit more chili powder for some color and more smokiness. All right, let's build our burger. Get some sweet rolls here. Add a patty. Get a little piece of this bib lettuce. Close it up. And chow down. This is gonna get the party started. These are gonna get nice and caramelized and should be like nice and smoky. I'm gonna make the marinade for my Korean style short ribs. The cut of beef I'm using is kind of like a flanked part of the rib. It's a lot of meat and a lot of fat, so it equals flavor. I have minced up some fresh ginger and garlic. I'm gonna add it to my measuring cup. I'm just gonna eyeball this marinade. Got some soy sauce and some brown sugar, some sesame oil, all of those Korean inspired flavors. Some soy sauce, a little umami. About a half cup of light brown sugar, add a little sweetness. Some mirin, which is a sweet cooking rice wine. A little sesame oil for a little nuttiness. Some chili oil for heat. And a little fish sauce, because it just adds a bright saltiness to your foods. And a little water to dilute everything. Smells good already. And I'm just gonna let these short ribs marinate in this. I'm using a charcoal grill. That's the only grill that I really like using. I'm gonna grill this over nice high hot heat and get it grilled for a few minutes on both sides. This is a very thin cut of meat, so you don't have to grill them long. I have my short ribs right here. Cook that on high heat. Now these are extremely thin, so they'll cook very, very fast. You don't want tough short ribs, so you don't want to cook it for too long. I give it about 3 or 4 minutes on one side, flip, cook it again for 3 or 4 minutes. Because of that brown sugar I put in the marinade, these steaks are gonna get nice and caramelized. The sugar is gonna create almost like this crust on the steak. All right, little grill 101. In order to get your grill, see right now it's reading at 200. As soon as you let that air up, that heat comes out. In order to lock in the air and get it really hot in here, especially if you have a vent, close your lid and open that vent. So when the air circulates, it goes through the coals and it gets those coals hotter. All right, so it's cooked to 3 to 4 minutes on each side. What I'm gonna do is, because I got that flame, this little flame going here, take it off. Look at the great char I got on there. Nice and smoky and crispy on the outside. Look how beautiful they are. So I'm making a cute little arugula salad for our low country boil. Now I make this salad all the time at my supper club events. And so right now I am making crostinis, and I also make this at my supper club. It's a nice little appetizer, and I'm just gonna make a very simple brush, olive oil, some fresh herbs, and garlic, salt and pepper. I love croutons and salads. But what's even better than a bigger crouton? That's what this is. So I'm gonna get started on my olive oil brush. I'm gonna use about 1/2 cup of olive oil, some chopped garlic, a few pinches of salt, cracked black pepper, a tablespoon or so, just a bunch of parsley. So I'm gonna get a rough chop. Give that a little whisk. Oh, it smells so good. You got the herbs, the garlic, the olive oil, the salt and pepper. Flip it over, of course. Both sides gotta get love. And that looks like it's ready for the oven. I'm gonna pop it in the oven. I have it preheated for 400 degrees for about 15 minutes. And while those are baking, I'm gonna get started on my peach salad. Instead of your typical romaine or iceberg lettuce, I'm gonna use arugula instead, because arugula just adds this hearty texture to the salad, and it's peppery, and it just goes really, really well with fresh fruit and that sweet olive oil vinaigrette that I'm gonna make. These are the same peaches that I picked up from my local farm stand. We're doing 2 peaches. Slice, slice, slice. So you know your peaches are in season when you can just pop out the seed. Pop. Voila. Look at that. This is one of my favorite salads to make at my supper club. What is a supper club, you ask? It's basically a traveling pop-up dinner. You get a 5-star restaurant experience in the comfort of a home. All right, so I'm going to assemble my salad now, but I will not put the dressing on it quite yet, of course, because I'm traveling to the beach to meet my girls, so we don't want a wilted salad. And I'm using smoked Gouda cheese. And I like using Gouda cheese because it adds a little bit of savory, hearty flavor without being overpowering. You're gonna find if you ever try to grate Gouda, it just doesn't work. The best thing to do is just crumble it with your hands. Add my sliced peaches. And then I've got my pecans. I don't want just plain pecans in my salad. I want candied pecans. Oh. I promise I'm not gonna eat all of them. It's gonna add a little bit more sweetness and a lot of crunch. Because I'm not dressing my salad right now, I'm gonna make my dressing in a mason jar. a little bit of olive oil, Dijon mustard, red wine vinegar, honey, and 1 chopped shallot. Give it a little shake. That looks good to me. Did you forget about the crostinis? I didn't. Wow, look at these. They are beautiful, nice and golden. Got a little bit of that parsley on there, got some garlic, pulled pork on top, pork rinds, and of course the hot dog is fully pork. This is Miss Brown's dog. All right, so I'm making the rub for my pulled pork on top. It's a very simple rub. Got some brown sugar in this bowl, some ground mustard, my house seasoning, and a little salt and a little cayenne pepper. So I'm gonna mix this rub together. In this bowl right here, I have about 2 pounds of boneless pork shoulder. I'm gonna pour this rub in here and rub my pork shoulder down. I have my pressure cooker over there that I'm gonna cook this really quick. I want it to get nice and soft and tenderized, so a pressure cooker or an instant cooker will do that in a snap. All right, so I've rubbed my pork down. Let me wash my hands. So my pressure cooker is on saute right now. Put a little oil in here. I'm gonna saute my pork shoulder. I'm gonna get them nice and brown on both sides. So here's the advantage of using a pressure cooker. This would normally take me about 3 to 4 hours to do this in a Dutch oven in the oven. This will be done in 45 minutes or less. What I'm doing by sauteing the pork shoulder before putting in all the extra sauces is that you're gonna get a nice brown caramelization on the meat. And all the caramelized bits at the bottom of this is gonna help enhance that sauce that's gonna go into this pork shoulder. I'm gonna add 1 cup of chicken broth. This is gonna create a sauce in here. A little over a half a cup of barbecue sauce. I'm gonna mix it up. All right, I'm taking it off saute. Now I'm gonna put it on pressure cook. Make sure my lid is secured, and you wanna make sure that your vent is closed because you need that pressure to stay in the pot. Okay? All right, so while that goes, I'm gonna get started on my cabbage slaw. Now this slaw is gonna go on top of the hot dog. I am making the pickling juice for the cabbage. I have 3/4 cup of water, 3/4 cup of white distilled vinegar. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of salt and about 2 tablespoons of sugar. So it's sweet, it's a little salty, and lots of vinegar. So while the sugar and salt dissolves, I'm gonna grab my cabbage and my onion. So I'm just gonna use just about half. I love using red cabbage for the color. You can use a green cabbage. You can actually use that stuff that's already made in a bag. That'll work perfectly too, but I think red cabbage is really fun with this type of hot dog. And I'm just shredding my cabbage. This looks like enough cabbage. I'm gonna get started on my onion. And I'm probably just gonna use half of this onion as well. All right, so I've mixed my red onion in with my red cabbage. I'm just gonna add it to my jar here. You wanna fill it just enough until it reaches a little way to the top. You don't wanna overfill it because of course I gotta put that liquid in there. So I'm gonna let this cool down before I add my top, and let me check on my pressure cooker. Oh, look at this pork. So I'm gonna ladle in my pork into this bowl so I can shred it. All right, so I have 2 forks here. I'm gonna pull my pork shoulder apart with the forks. Let me show you how beautiful. Look at that. Just falling apart. You literally could just eat it just like this. Okay, I'm gonna grill my dogs. I have my pork franks. I have my griddle, nice and hot. Once these hot dogs cook and get nice and charred, it's gonna open up because I split it down the middle. It's gonna open up, it's gonna create almost a bed for the pulled pork, that cabbage, and the pork rinds on top. So my dogs are getting nice and charred. Look at that. Ooh, those are pretty. All right, I'm gonna let it cook on that side. See, that's what I like right there. Those beautiful charred lines on there, nice and crispy on the edges. I'm gonna build one dog. Let's see. Grab that one, that looks nice and charred. I'm gonna start off with my spicy mustard, add some of that pulled pork. All right, next is the pickled cabbage. Next, the pork rinds. I'm gonna add some crunch. It's gonna add some salty flavor. Crush it on top. Oh, hoo, hoo. Okay. All right. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. It's crispy, it's salty, there's texture, there's flavor. This is not your boring old ballpark Frank. This is Miss Brown's dog. So I'm making a grilled peach crumble a la mode. But before I put the peaches on the grill, I gotta make the crumble. And to make the crumble, I have to cut up 1 stick of butter into cubes. You gotta have cold butter because you need that good chunks of crumbles to go on top of those grilled peaches. I'm going to use vanilla bean in my crumble. If you can't get your hand on a vanilla bean, you can always use vanilla extract. Right, I'm gonna reserve the other half of my vanilla bean because I'm gonna make a vanilla oil when the peaches go on the grill. I always like a crumble with a nut. Nuts just add that extra bit of texture. And I'm in the South, of course, we gotta use pecans. If you say pecans around me, I will turn a deaf ear to you. A half a cup of rolled oats, 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar, a half a cup of white flour. The flour just acts as a binding agent, and a heavy pinch of salt. I'm gonna add a half a pinch of cinnamon. It's gonna complement that vanilla bean that I put in here, and it's just gonna give it that classic crumble taste. You don't want to crumble the butter too much because we need it to still have some of that substance so we can get those big chunks. It looks good to me. And just spread it all over the baking sheet. That is what it's supposed to look like. This is why I use the cold butter, to get these nice big pieces of crumble. Alrighty, my oven is preheated to 400 degrees. I'm gonna bake it for 15 to 20 minutes. I think my crumble is done. Ooh, look at that. I could just eat it like how it is. All right, I'm gonna take it outside and get these bad boys on my peaches. I'm assembling my grilled peaches. Simple little coating. A little bit of olive oil, a little vanilla bean, and just brush it. That's it.
Hey, sis.
Don't you hey sis me, you're late.
Well, you know how it goes. Sweets before meats. How you doing?
Oh, sweets before meats. That's so cute.
What we got for dessert?
Peaches.
Okay.
Got a little bit of ice cream.
Yeah.
You know, got a little crumble. Gonna place this on the grill. Face down, teach you a thing or two.
You got some olive oil in there? Is that
Got a
what
little
that is?
olive oil, a little bit of vanilla bean, you
Nice.
know. I'm just gonna grill this, you know,
Okay.
until it gets those nice little char and some grill lines on there. About 3 minutes. These are done. I love using peaches, especially peaches that are in season. They're sweet, they're juicy, they're at the peak of their freshness.
Looks good.
All right.
Top it with some vanilla ice cream, a little crumble. Watch this, watch that action.
Nice. All in.
Oh yeah, we're going fancy. We got lobster rolls on the menu tonight. A charred scallion lobster roll. I have a cast iron skillet here that I have extremely hot, and I'm just gonna char off these scallions, okay? And then in this pot right here, I've clarified some butter. So I've removed all of those milk solids, and all you have left is this beautiful, clear, clarified butter. Okay. I just love the flavor of charred scallions. It's just gonna give it that surprising extra layer of flavor. All right, I've got my clarified butter. I'm gonna put that right here. My charred scallions, just gonna dice that up. I have my lobster here. Got some lobster tails, boiled them down, cut the tail open, and just took that meat out and chopped it up. Just gonna pour that hot butter over that lobster, right? I'm going to take off this stem on my scallion, dice the rest of my charred scallion, and I'm gonna make a dressing and then toss that buttered lobster meat celery that I've diced, a little mayo, and a little bit of lemon juice. Lemon juice just always brightens up any type of seafood. Salt, some freshly cracked black pepper. Add that lobster that's been soaking in that butter and give it a toss. Oh man, that's what you call a lobster salad right there. That mayo and that butter, that sweet lobster meat, and that charred scallion is gonna really bring this to a different level. Holy moly. Okay, what I'm gonna do now is show you how I'm gonna build this. I have rolls that I've buttered and grilled. I'm gonna take some butter lettuce. I love this lettuce because it's so simple and gentle. Put it down the center of my bread. Lobster meat. Look at this. Oh. Isn't she beautiful? Cousins, me and this lobster need a little time. Catfish tacos. So I'm gonna start off with a simple marinade. Got about a half a cup of buttermilk, a tablespoon of seafood seasoning, right? And a teaspoon of chipotle powder. Give this a little whisk. Now I have about a pound of catfish that I've cut into little fillets like that. It means just makes it easier to go into the taco. I'm only gonna marinate it for about 10 or 15 minutes. My catfish has been marinating a while in the buttermilk, the seafood seasoning, the chipotle powder. I wanna use the same spices in my dredge. I gotta have my paper bag. So a cup of cornmeal and a cup of flour. All right, using some of the same spices I used in my marinade. I'm gonna eyeball this. Say about a tablespoon of seafood seasoning, a teaspoon of chipotle powder, a little spice, and a pinch of salt. Shake it up. Get my marinated catfish, drop it right in the bag. Want to get some flavor on the inside, also gonna get some flavor on that crust. You wanna do these in batches because if you put too much of the catfish in this bag, it's gonna get overcrowded and each piece will not get evenly coated. All right, so that is my last piece of catfish. All that's left to do is fry it. I'm using vegetable oil. If you don't have vegetable oil, you can use canola. And I'm shallow frying these in my cast iron skillet. And I'm just frying enough till it gets golden brown. The great thing about seafood, especially catfish, doesn't take long at all to cook. I don't have to flip these. It's submerged in this oil. So when I let it go, get nice and golden brown. It should take about 4 to 5 minutes. Exactly what I wanted. Nice golden brown. This is gonna be super crispy. They're gonna love these catfish tacos. Mexican street corn salad. So I have 6 ears of corn here. For the corn, I'm gonna make my cream base, 1.5 cups mayo, just eyeballing this. Add in 1 teaspoon garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, half a teaspoon of cumin, and a half a teaspoon of salt. Make sure that it's nice and fully incorporated. So I'm gonna use this in multiple ways. I'm gonna brush it on the corn. Ooh, it smells so good. I smell the smokiness. The corn are nice and covered. I got my grill hot. I'm gonna put them right on the grill. Get that sizzle going. Oh yeah. I love grilled corn. So this is gonna take about 5 or 6 minutes per side. I'm gonna add a few more ingredients to that bowl to get my salad going. This cream is great as it is, but I'm gonna add some green onions, some cilantro, and the juice of 2 limes. The juice of these limes are gonna loosen up that cream mixture. All right, so that corn is popping. That means you need to turn it. It looks kind of burnt, but it's not. You want that char because it's gonna be so beautiful in that salad. That needs 5 to 6 more minutes. While that's going, I'm gonna finish up on my dressing. If I'm making a grilled corn salad, I like something spicy, and I mean, I'm from the South, I gotta use hot sauce. And I've got some cotija cheese. You can also use fresca cheese, which is less sharp and less salty. That red color, the pop of green from the green onions and the cilantro, smells amazing. My corn is definitely done. Got some nice char on both sides. I can eat it right off the cob, just as is. And I'm gonna show you an easier way to get the corn off the cob. I got 2 bowls. Turn the smaller bowl over. Place the corn on top. Look at that. See how easy that is? That's my last ear of corn. So I'm adding the corn where I have the mayo, the hot sauce, the chili powder, the cumin, the garlic, cilantro, the green onions. It's a fiesta in a bowl.
Aunt TC's potato salad. I'm gonna go ahead and let you start cutting the potatoes, okay?
Okay, I can do that.
In the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the bell pepper and the onions.
So I've cooked 10 pounds of red potatoes and I let it cool.
I am cutting up these bell peppers. I like to dice them kind of small, you know, so every little bite of potato salad, you can actually have some peppers in there.
You got some little nice uniform pieces, okay.
Actually, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put those peppers in here.
Okay.
Keep cutting that.
Okay. I've never had potato salad that tastes as good as hers. I mean, she is the salad queen. She can cook her behind off, okay? Now, what's the secret in your potato salad? Why can't my potato salad taste like this?
Well, Kardea, you know, at my age, I got what you call old love. That means that there is no recipe for this stuff. You just make up what you do and you go along with it. And you know, even when my grandmother used to make the potato salad, it was just the potato, mayonnaise, and the eggs. A little salt and pepper. But as the years go by, you know, we start adding different things in there. You know what? You have to learn how to make mistakes in order to get what you really want to do right.
How many eggs you got?
I have a dozen of eggs.
Oh, okay. And you leave the yolk in, right?
I sure do.
Okay.
You want to leave the yolk in.
Oh, is that the secret ingredient?
Kardea, keep cutting. Alrighty, now that you've got those potatoes cut, here's what we're gonna do.
Oh my God. Look at my grandmother. She is ready for the reunion.
Yes, she is.
Joe is bringing the fashion. Oh my goodness, everybody is so excited.
Yes,
oh my gosh, they're showing me their outfits.
I can't wait. And it's going to look like I'm adding like a lot of mayonnaise, but the reason why I'm adding so much mayonnaise is because we have a lot of potatoes.
Looks about like 3 cups.
A little bit of garlic in here. This is some onion powder. Don't need a whole lot. And I love smoked paprika. So now, and here's some salt. Don't want to add too much salt. Let's put some pepper in. I'm going to stir all this up here.
I like the way Aunt TC uses another bowl to mix ingredients to make sure that it comes together equally and so it's evenly distributed throughout the potatoes. Is there anything I can help you with?
You know what,
I mean,
Kardea,
I can sit back and watch.
No, you know what I want you to do? I want you to grab the mustard. Let's open up this mustard because we're going to, in just a minute, we're going to squirt some of that mustard in here.
All right, so in Southern potato salad, we like to use mustard. Now, there's variations of potato salad. You can do a red potato salad with just sour cream, a little bit of chives, but in the South, we are known for using mustard in our potato salad. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
And what we're going to do, we're going to dump all this stuff in the potato. That's going to taste real good.
What I'm going to do, because everybody's a little greedy when they come. I'm gonna put a little bowl to the side for myself. You know, it always tastes better the next
we do
day.
have a lot of people coming now.
They won't know what's missing.
So I'm gonna add this. I'll give it about maybe three spoons. Okay.
And that is sweet.
Yes,
sweet
I
roast.
love the sweet taste. I love it.
So we gotta get it in a decorative bowl.
Even though this potato pot is cute.
Ooh. Oh, it's good to me.
And here's the little bit that we left behind for you.
Scrape.
Now here's what I like to do. Mold that really good together right there and Not bad. And we're looking at serving this thing right here. Isn't that pretty? So we're gonna just sprinkle a little paprika on top. The cake spoon.
I'm ready to party.
Yes, you are. That's Aunt TC's potato salad. How you like me now?
Too cute. You are too cute. Next dish for the block party, I am making a summery and simple pasta salad. I have some tricolor pasta here that I've already cooked and drained. I'm cutting up some summer squash, which is really beautiful and tasty around this time of year. I'm just gonna throw in some tomatoes, olives, and a little bit more of that Italian dressing I used for the sliders. And so now I'm just dicing my zucchini. I have some yellow squash right there as well. And another great thing about this pasta salad is that you can put whatever veggie you like in there. Oh my gosh, my grandmother. I pray that when I'm her age, I'm just as vibrant and lively and active as she is. I always talk about her because if I go over her house at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., she's like fully dressed, ready to go. My grandmother never sleeps in, and my grandma has her routine, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. She still drives herself to the pool. She gets all dressed up to go there. Let me tell you something, my grandma is one jazzy lady. She will put on her clothes, and it's so funny. I know when she really likes her outfit because she'll come out the room and she'll, I'm like, Grandma, do you like it? I think so. When my grandma enters a room, everyone's face just lights up. Everyone loves Joe. And my grandma actually used to be a really big party host back in New York when she lived in New York. Everyone loved going to her house for parties because they knew Joe was gonna make some good old Southern food. All right, so all of my veggies are diced up. Got some tricolor spiral pasta that I boiled till it was al dente. You want it to still kind of have a bite to it. I'm gonna add my veggies. All right, I have some black olives and some sliced cherry tomatoes. Taking that Italian dressing that I used earlier for the sliders, just adding it directly to the pasta. Super simple veggie pasta salad. And easy to make in the summertime because you really don't want to spend a lot of time in that hot kitchen. The perfect dish for that. A little salt and freshly cracked black pepper. The great thing about pasta salads, the longer it sits, the better it gets. So you can actually make this a day before or even 2 days in advance. And as it sits in that Italian dressing, it's just gonna soak up all of that flavor. All right, I'm just gonna give it a mix, and this pasta salad is done. If you want, you can also add some cheese to this. Feta would be really good in here. You can add more Parmesan. Again, you can add any protein that you want if you want to add a protein. It's the summertime, so if you're anywhere near the water, shrimp will be so good in this. But this is the perfect side for those skewers. Okay, give it a taste. Get some of that zucchini in there. Get a little squash. That's good. It's so fresh. It's not a heavy salad. You know, in the summertime, you just don't want to eat heavy. I don't know about you, but for me, when it's hot outside, I don't want anything that's gonna make me feel icky. This is a great pasta salad if you just want something that's refreshing and tasty, and it's a great side.